Hey guys, Kyle Dixon here with another video for the YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the exact process you guys need to follow to take Google Maps data and get it cold email ready. So what I mean by that is when you scrape Google Maps, all you really get is the review count, the company name, the website, but you don't have the things you need to talk to the decision maker. So for example, you don't know who the owner is, you don't know who the CEO is, you don't know who the COO is, you don't know who the CMO is, right? You don't know anybody's name inside of the company, okay? And you don't have any emails. So in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys the exact process you need to use once you scrape Google Maps to turn it into basically cold email ready data, okay? So let's hop right in. I'll see you guys on the other side. What's up, guys? So we are in Clay, and right here I scraped some Google Maps data. So what we got, like I said earlier in the intro, is we have the title, we have the amount of average rating they have on Google Maps, the amount of reviews they have, the business phone number, the industry, the address of the company, the website, and the Google Maps link. So that's all you get when you scrape Google Maps. As you can see, we don't know anybody inside of the company, and we don't have any emails. So we can't really email anybody. So the first step of what I typically do once I have this data is I use Claygent. So Claygent is an AI web scraper inside of Clay where you could find any type of info on the internet that is publicly accessible. So for example, if I wanted to ask Clay to find me case studies on each company's website, it will go onto their website with the link right here. I'll provide it in the prompt. It will use that website link inside the prompt to go onto their website and to look for case studies, okay? Now, there's many different things. You could use Claygent to also generate images, create or modify content, or scrape the internet, okay? And there's different models. So you could use different types of ChatGPT models for different tasks, Claude, and Gemini. Now you also could use Clay's innate AI. It's really good. It just uses a lot of credits, so no one really actually uses it. Now, what I recommend doing is hooking up your API key. So using your API key will make this way cheaper, and it will prevent you from having to use any Clay credits, which you could run through pretty quickly. Okay. So what are we doing here inside this Claygent prompt? So essentially, the context is you are a business researcher finding the CEO, COO, or owner for small businesses like contractors or med spas. So we give them the title of the company, we give them the address of the company, the phone number of the company, the website of the company, and a Google Maps link to use for verification that they have the right info. So focus on accuracy for small/local businesses. Avoid assumptions. Objective: identify and return the top executive contact in priority order. CEO first, then COO, then owner/founder with verified source. Okay? And then instructions. Check the website first. If website is present, visit it and locate about page, team page, leadership, our company, or contact pages. Extract executive names and titles exactly as listed. Prefer CEO. If not present, look for COO. If neither, look for owner, founder, president, managing partner, managing member, or principal. Treat as owner if clearly indicated. Okay, so we're going to capture also the exact page URL that we found this information from. Next step is Google Maps verification. Open a Google Maps link and confirm the business name and address match the company and address. Okay, so there's all this stuff that we're basically doing here. We're checking BBB directories, Yelp directories, state business registries. We're checking all this stuff. You guys can read through it. So basically how I created this whole prompt was, I didn't type all this out, guys. You can use generate, and then you can kind of type in what you want Clay to do. So, hey, Clay, I want you to you have to provide it with the links. So you have to say, hey, Clay, I want you to take the website and whatever other sources you could think of and help me find the CEO, COO, or owner of a small business that I scraped off of Google Maps. Then you go down here and you press generate, and it will generate you a big prompt that looks like this. Now you guys could just copy my prompt if you want. I'll go slowly for you guys, but this prompt works great. So as you guys can see, actually before I show you guys that, for run if only settings, you want to make sure that basically what this means is if there isn't a website present in this column, then we're not going to run the AI. So for example, down here, we don't have a website for this company, so it's not going to run the AI. So that way we're not wasting API tokens. Okay. So for example, the response that we got was Chuck Duronin. That's how I say his name. And then we had Steve Shin and Shella Lanner. You got Erica, right? So we have all these names. Okay. So we found the executives, we know the position, and we have the source. Now the next step you want to do is you want to clean the name. So for example, we'll run this name through AI, and we just want to return just one name, right? So we'll return just Steve Shin. Then we'll clean it again. We'll just get the first name, and then we'll extract. The next step, we'll extract the registerable domain from the website. So we have the website right here. So we'll ask it to scrape it to give us the domain. Now, why do we do this? Because to find emails for a company, you need the domain and you need the first name and full name. Okay. Now, this is basically all the steps you need to do to find the decision makers and clean the domain so it's ready to find emails. So that's the first step. Now you guys could spend Clay credits by going here and pressing find email, and it will bring you through this whole waterfall process that will use a bunch of credits. Or I can show you something that I do that saves me thousands of dollars a month. So I'll see you guys on the other side. I'm gonna go to my next Clay table. Alrighty guys, so we are back to my next Clay table. This is called my email finder template. So this is how I save thousands of dollars a month for all the clients I have on finding emails. So the thing about emails, when you start using verification tools and finder tools, is that you realize that there's a lot of patterns, right? So I mean, a lot of people use their first name and then, so first name at domain. For example, me and my business, my email is kyle@broommarketing.com. There's a lot of people who use their first name right before the domain. So that's a pattern. Now we also see a lot of people who use their first initial, then their last name before the domain. So for example, kdixon at Nike.com, right? We see a lot of patterns. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna create a list of patterns that we can use, and then we're just gonna validate them all. Dude, sorry, my leg is acting up. It's like falling asleep. I don't know what the heck. Okay, so hopping in here. So we have the first name, we have the full name. We're gonna re-clean the first name, make sure it's nice and clean. We're gonna extract the last name from the full name, and then we're gonna clean the full name. Okay. Now the next step is my AI prompt for email patterns. So basically, we're generating likely email addresses based off the full name and domain. Okay, so these are all different combinations, the prompt, right? And we're gonna generate a list, comma separated, of email patterns. So for example, the first one is we're taking the first name at domain.com. So Steve at homeworkremodel.com, Eric at renovationbydesign.com. And the reason, once again, we're doing this is, so Lead Magic, right? And a lot of other basically email finder tools, it costs 1 credit to find an email. So it costs 1 credit to find an email. Now, once you find the email, you have to validate the email to make sure it's actually real. 1 credit in Lead Magic could validate 20 emails. So you could either use 1 credit to find an email or 1 credit to validate 20 emails. So I would rather create the emails that are most likely to be real and then try to validate them to save as many credits as possible. Now, If we can't do that with my own API where I'm trying to save money, then we'll use Clay credits as last resort. Okay, so the first combination is Steve at home worker model. Okay, so we're gonna try to validate that, and we got a status of invalid. Now I also use, I believe it is Million Verifier, which is extremely cheap, to double verify these first initial patterns that are super likely to be true. So in this example, I guess none of them were true, but usually half the time, or at least like 33% of the time, it's firstname@domain.com. So then we use our HTTP request to reach out to, actually I don't want to show my API key. Oh, that was close. To show, I gotta rename that again. 1 second. Boop. Okay. So we gotta resolve okay. So okay means it's a valid email. Okay, now our second combination is first name dot last name. We're gonna run it. We found out emails invalid. It's actually a very bad example because a lot of these didn't match, but usually a lot of them do. Okay, and then we did another HTTP request. We found another valid email. So far we've found 2 emails. We're gonna run the third combination, which is first name, last name without the period, invalid, invalid. Third combination, first initial, last name, invalid. And then fourth combination is just last name, invalid. Fifth name is last name dot first name, invalid. Last name, first name, invalid. And then last name dot first initial, invalid. So we found 2 out of the 6 emails. Now we need to find work email waterfall. So this is where, once again, I'm going to use my API key so we can try to save credits. If I find an email with my API key, I won't have to use any credits. But if I find a work email with ICPs where I don't have an API key, I have to use 2 credits out of my 10,000 I get a month, which means I only can find really 5,000 emails. And that doesn't even include validation of those emails. Okay. So we found it with ICPs. We try to validate it with our API. We'll try to find this one right with find email, validate with my API. So we go all the way down and we collected, this was something I manually inputted. We got 4 out of the 6 emails. Okay, so that's basically the process I use. So once again, I go through the whole Google Maps thing, right? We're finding the decision makers. We're trying to find the CEO, the COO, or the founder. And then we're gonna clean those names. So we extract just their first name, and then we have their last name, and then we have their full name. And then we also wanna extract their domain. So we're gonna use this to create email patterns in our next table. And then we're gonna validate those patterns with our own API keys to save a bunch of money. Now, if you guys don't have API keys for like Lead Magic, or you're not paying for any of that stuff, I recommend using Million Verifier. It's really good and really cheap, so I recommend checking it out. And you guys could just do HTTP requests. Now, at the end of this is very important, we have a merge field. So this is the work email we got from our waterfall, but this campaign ready email, put this instantly, is a merge formula where you guys could just kind of copy this, but you have to also copy the names. Basically, it figures out where we got a valid email and it merges it in here. So if we found it from work email at the very top, we'll just put the work email. So work email is from the waterfall. Now we also found over here, we found a valid email right here. So the first one is if HTTP, where's it at? If result 0, so if result 0 is equal to 0, I mean, if result 0 is equal to okay, then use this, then output it. If result 1, which is right here, is equal to okay, then output it. Okay, so basically just gonna go through this whole formula process to find all the verified emails, if that makes sense, and then output them into this column so we could input this all into our Instantly account. Okay, so that's basically the process of finding emails. In my next few videos, I'm going to be talking about how to enrich data without using a bunch of credits, and then so you can score those leads and then use those enrichments also to personalize cold emails with cold email variables. But that's it for now. Hope you guys liked the video, and if you guys have any questions, Just let me know in the comments, or if you guys have any video recommendations, just drop those in the comments too. But that's it for now, guys. Hope you guys have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.